It's time for News You Need. News You Need is a look at current events and how they affect the college community and beyond. And now here's the host of News You Need, Dr. Ed Simpson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to yet another exciting edition of News You Need. This is the show where we talk with the best human beings in the whole world, which is our USM students. And we have another great group with us today. Is two a group?
Yeah, we'll go with yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll add
it's
us too.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the show where we talk about what's in the news. And the reason we care is that your society is confronting a whole bunch of issues, right? Including whether we're going to be a society or not, or whether we're going to fall into this dystopian tire fire of whatever it is we're looking at right now. And the only way to figure this all out is to look at the news, read the news, talk about it with each other, maybe have a little fun along the way. Probably not. And that's why we're here, to do that. So what I'd like to do is have everybody kind of introduce yourselves a little bit. Our co-host is here with us today again. Thank you, Dr. Hale. And then if you could tell us who you are, and then you guys give us maybe your name, your major, perhaps your hometown, and then whatever student group you're with.
Yep, I'm back again, right? So I'm again Dr. Brent Hale. So I'm an assistant professor here in this school, and I read the news periodically, at least once per day, maybe twice per day, to see what's going on in the world. Because as you said, it's important. We have to know what's going on in order to make better decisions.
Hi, I'm Meadow Smith. I am an English and digital journalism double major.
Ooh.
I am here representing both the USM's To the Tabletop TTRPG Club, and I am also part of the Southern Miss Today video production crew. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm the one who typically runs the cameras for like our YouTube live streams and our SM2 Media Archive.
Ooh, love it.
I'm Hayden. I'm the vice president of the USM Live Music Club here on campus.
Wow, what great clubs. What's your major?
Social work.
Social work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, there you go. We need social work.
Yes.
We're going to need a lot more of it. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Table blank, blank, blank. I didn't catch it. So tell me again.
To the Tabletop.
To
I
the
like
tabletop.
that a
Wow.
lot. Right?
To the tabletop.
That is a 10 out of 10 from me.
Is
That's
it?
perfect.
Yes. Someone at 7.2. So what do y'all do?
Well, we are. What's the best way to explain it? I think a lot of people would probably know us around USM as the D&D club. So we run a lot of your typical, very popular, like tabletop role-playing games. But we're also just, in general, a board gaming type club. We work as a social hub so that we help people find groups if they want to play, different campaigns with each other, or if they just want to come in during some of our group meets, play board games, interact with people, just hang out
Sweet.
session.
So if I want to put on my wizard suit, can I come in and play Dungeons and Dragons with y'all?
You know what? If you can find a group, I'm sure that they would love to have you. So.
Oh, there's no group though?
Well, it's one of those things that we have like a social hub. So it's one of those kind of, we have a place for everybody to seek out different groups. So it's like, you want to come in and say like, hey, I'm looking
Cool.
for, D&D Pathfinder, something like that.
Okay,
So you
excellent.
mentioned two of them, D&D and Pathfinder. What else are people like commonly playing?
Ooh, right now, I'm going to probably throw out a few names a few listeners probably wouldn't know, but we've got Lancers, which is going to be like a mech TTRPG that somebody's running. I've got somebody who's doing a Star Wars campaign.
Okay.
We've got
I
a
get
whole
you.
bunch of different things going.
My understanding is the
Interesting.
Star Wars one is very complicated.
Oh,
Like very complicated.
Ooh,
I'll
yes.
take over from here. You
Yeah,
can just-
you're our game guy. I don't do games.
but yes, Warhammer, I don't think we have any current games, but we do have a lot of very, very active players. So
Wow.
My understanding is there's actually going to be a new Warhammer show that's going to be produced for Amazon. Isn't that interesting?
so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting.
You guys are gonna have to
I was
start your
about
own
to say,
radio
like-
show. You need your own radio. I'm serious. A game show a game show on games.
Sure.
Do it. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it.
that's a 5 out of 10.
Well, so we have a live music club,
Yeah. we
which is
do.
what? What do y'all do?
So we usually have open mics every Thursday from 5 to 8 on the wooden stage behind the BSU. And we have equipment for the club. So we have drums, amplifiers, guitar, bass, and a microphone. And like last night, everyone dressed up. That was really fun. It was really cold, but we all dressed up.
Because it's outdoor.
Yeah, it's outdoor. Yeah. And I mean, it's just really fun. It's a community of musicians here on campus.
That is very cool. I really actually love that. How many folks generally will come up on it? What's it, Thursday night, you said?
Yeah, it usually depends. Like last night it was cold, so not like too many people stuck around after the sun went down. But yeah, because I mean everyone in costume.
It was cold last
Yeah,
night. It was super
everyone in
cold.
costume was like, all right, I think I'm done. I gotta get warm. And but usually it varies. You know, like like midterms, like we didn't have a lot of people come out.
So do you have various genres? Like,
Yeah, I mean anyone can play whatever they want. We have some students that are from Nepal, and it's the only time that they get to play, and you know they play music from Nepal.
that's great.
That's awesome.
It really is awesome. I love that. And I love how USM is everybody, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have to look very hard, but sometimes you do have to look. But USM is everybody, and I love that. So that's really cool. So what are our students chatting about? What's news to our campus this week? What's big? What's happening?
Ooh. Well, we had a lot of our Halloween festivities recently, so I would say definitely, what was it, Spooky Spirit in the Park, 5 to 7, that was yesterday. Been hearing a lot of great stuff about that. And honestly, just in general, a lot of our like Halloween festivities, we just got out of homecoming, so we had a lot of that going on. So definitely a lot of, I would say, student-to-student interactions and
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, so it's been busy on campus with Halloween, certainly, and homecoming. And I tried to avoid that at all costs because it's
One of my favorite things about homecoming is when you come in through the front here and then
Yeah.
you see those big boards where they're
Yeah.
putting up the decorations and stuff. I always find that awesome. I like looking at those.
I do too.
think
I
they're
think those are
great.
great. And the
Who
students.
does that? I
I think
don't
it's
know
the
who
Greek
does
Stories, aren't they?
It's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. So student clubs, so student clubs, and then you have to be picked. So you can't just say, I want to quote float. So those boards took over the floats a number of years ago. I don't know when. I think it was right after the pandemic. They said, no, we're going to do it. But you have to apply. Your club has to apply, and then if you pass the test, whatever, they give you one of those boards, and then you design something based on the secret theme. See, I learned this by listening to News You Need, because naturally I don't care, but because it's on the show, I kind of.
I liked the theme this year. I thought it was.
What
very
was the
cool.
theme?
It was No Place Like Homecoming because it had
Wizard
like
of Oz.
Wizard of Oz
Oh,
style.
gotcha.
How do they choose the theme? They're just
Oh,
like,
it's a cabal of students that are very secretive. I'm sure lots of pizza, maybe some blood occasionally, weapons. You know, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know about any of that.
Fight Club type thing. I don't know, but I know it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I know it's a thing, and I know they're not allowed to talk about it.
that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
So
I
there you
didn't-
go.
I
We'll
didn't know
figure
that,
this out.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's okay. So what else? Definitely a busy week on campus, but it's also a busy week for your nation in terms of
Yeah.
news and
Oh,
headlines,
certainly.
and Mississippi.
Yeah.
So there was
like how political can we get? Because
as
like
political as you want to be.
I saw what was it yesterday that Trump is allowing retesting of nukes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was in
Yes.
class and
Yes.
we were all like,
What? What is it? Yes. So that is actually one of the headlines I did not pull because I really thought nobody would care. Dr. Hill usually informs me that everything I care about, nobody else cares about. But that was one of the ones that there was a headline where President Trump has ordered the U.S. to begin testing its nuclear arsenal, saying, well, we need to be with China and Russia to make sure, or blah, blah. And of course, China and Russia have not tested their nukes for about 20
Since the
years,
90s,
30
I'm pretty
years.
sure.
Yeah, somewhere around 30. So that hit you? And
yeah, I mean, it was right before my social systems class in social work, and we had a guest speaker, and he brought it up.
I
mean,
see.
that's-
But it didn't come across your news feed.
It did. I
Oh,
did
okay.
read it before class, and I was
Okay.
like, "That's really interesting."
It
like,
is interesting.
'cause
Okay, so
didn't we have nuclear testing around like southern Mississippi? I'm pretty sure.
well, we'll talk about that. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to pick up with Mississippi's unique nuclear history after the break.
Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Calling all families.
Calling all children and kids of all ages.
Are you looking for a variety of music the whole family can listen to?
Yeah!
Then look no further. We have traditional songs, international tunes, and fresh new beats.
Join us every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m.
Right here on Southern Miss Radio.
for the Hickory Dickory Dock Show. Catch you Saturday. Catch you then.
Yeah, is that child older now, isn't it? How old is that child now?
About the same.
About the same.
Couple years older.
Oh, 2 or 3. Okay, I just because I've heard that like for a while. And I've
Yeah,
been,
no,
oh, the child.
Isabella and they're
Yeah.
Dr. McLeese's kids.
Oh yeah.
And, good kids.
Okay, so nuclear testing in Mississippi. So this is kind of interesting. I didn't even have it on my list, but that's why I love this show, because you never know what direction we're going to go off in. In the 1960s, Mississippi was the home in Richton at the salt domes of an underground nuclear test. The #1 viewed video on the Student Media YouTube channel is an interview with a guy who lived right near that test. It's up to somewhere around 21,000 views now, and it was done like 12 years ago. And it still gets views every year. And it's really not that controversial. The guy's just saying, yeah, I was here when the test went off, I heard it, blah, 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 blah. But there's been a lot of discussion about the environmental impact
I
of
mean, when we tested it in the West, I'm pretty sure, like, they would form nuclear acid clouds, which would blow over to the. That's what I've heard. And
I don't know. I know we tested them in New Mexico, and we tested, the biggest one was, of course, in the Bikini Island of the atolls, or whatever. That was back in World War II, before we had 1,000 of them. We had one. But yeah, so nuclear testing, yeah. And so environmental questions concern you,
yeah,
it sounds
I
like?
mean, I don't. Where would he test it, first of all? I wouldn't want it
You know what?
anywhere near
That
us.
is a good question. That had never occurred to me until you just mentioned that.
There's
So
a
you just
nice
say-
place in the middle of the ocean called Hawaii.
We don't really need Hawaii, do
Yeah.
we? I mean, yeah. So that's interesting. Where would you test it? Do you have any thoughts that enter your circle at all?
A little bit, I would say, especially as a person in the journalism program, very consistently watching the news. So I haven't had too much time to actually go over it and see what all has been substantiated thus far. So once
Yeah.
again, using my journalism here, I'm not going to put forth anything I'm not entirely
Oh,
aware
there
of
you
at the
go.
moment. However, the environmental impacts, as well as the obviously the social impact of, with us now acknowledging that America is going to be testing our nuclear weapons, I believe that it's going to cause ripples, as anything does, and the idea of what it means for our diplomacy, I feel like, will definitely need to be discussed and analyzed whenever we come into it.
A very professional response.
Right.
I'll give a much less professional response, which
Yeah.
is I missed that one. I hadn't heard about
Yeah.
that. But that sounds bad.
Well, yeah, and the big concern, and that had never occurred to me to say, okay, where are you going to test it? But we should find that out. But yeah, the biggest chatter is about the effect on folks like North Korea. Like, okay, because that's what happens, right? Is Kim Jong-un gets a little upset over something, and he goes, okay, we're going to test our nuclear, and then they do, and they fly missiles over Taiwan and that kind of stuff. And of course, one mistake, and you've got potentially World War III on your hand, right? So that was a discussion of a lot of chatter of again, Trump arbitrarily, unilaterally, just by himself saying, "Oh, we're going to start testing."
An unprecedented thing to do.
Yes, an unprecedented thing. Yeah. So there you go. Anything else that's hitting our students?
I guess the government shutdown.
Yeah. So is that reaching our students? Do we care?
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly.
We're at a month now.
Yeah.
I believe with the SNAP benefits has been something that I've personally seen a lot of potential, definitely personal
So
consequences.
I do want to talk about this, and I want to get you guys' take on this. In the richest country in the world, with the biggest economy in history, we have 44 million citizens that can't eat without SNAP benefits. That now, as of November 1st, which is tomorrow, will be taken away. How do we feel about that?
Very upset. Like, I
I
don't know
mean,
how
I mean,
you
I know it's so
couldn't be
huge.
upset.
It's so
Yeah.
huge. It's hard to get your arms around. But I think we have to talk about it. I think we have to
Yeah.
look it in the eye, and I think we have to talk about it because this is the direction of your society. So, what do our young people think about this?
I guess the populist portion of population that voted for Trump, that believed that he would fix the economy and make things better, are really upset about it. And I think there's no overall benefit from the people's perspective that it's a good thing. And the fact that we are allowing someone to do this to a population of people that most likely feel like that they cannot stand up for themselves really makes me upset, because I just don't understand how we have allowed this to continue to happen. And I think this is only year one? I think it's only going to continue to
I
get
know
worse.
it feels like decade one, but we're in month 8. Yeah.
Personally, I believe that no matter what party you choose to identify with or party that you choose not to identify with, we are all sort of coming to acknowledge now within the shutdown, the way that the funding has been dispersed, that the rich are getting rich and the poor are getting poorer. And I believe that where there's a very charged political idea of why the government is shut down, that all of us are the ones being affected by it. Doesn't matter your partisanship or what tax bracket you're in. I mean, even the middle class now, upper middle class, are feeling the same effects of funding being withdrawn, especially amongst our federal agents. So I believe it's one of those things that, from what I've heard, both in the people within my programs, my social circle, my family, that once again, while I'm trying to identify more as on a neutral stance for this, that we all are suffering the effects, and that unless you are part of the 1%, the 10% who are continuing to retrieve their benefits and their finances through the shutdown as federal agents, there's a lot going on that we really need to be mindful of as citizens. We really need to see where our funding is going, and the fact that if we are paying into taxes currently, where are those taxes going at the moment, especially with us no longer having our funded benefits such as SNAP, WIC, even our federal agents being paid.
Yeah, I think there's 2 important points to bring in here. One related to that, which is some of the folks who are still getting paid during this particular interval are the ones who should be fixing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I think should just be drawn attention to, that they continue to get paid. And then the second thing is we have to acknowledge the effect that it has on Mississippi specifically.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That this is
poorest
actually a
state
really
in the country.
Absolutely, this is a big deal in this state. So it is absolutely being felt, and it will be felt more.
Yeah, and this goes to my argument that nobody ever listens to, Dr. Hale, that politics is life.
Most certainly.
And this is my argument. Even in our dramatically polarized times, where a lot of people are thinking and talking about politics, even though they say they don't. Only 76% of all people voted, and eligible voters voted in the last election. Less than 30% of young people voted in the last election. But yet, the politics is what's taking us in this direction. So how can we, I'm just going to say it, how can we get our citizens to take part and understand that what you're seeing is a direct result of what you did or did not do in the last election?
I feel like one of the big things that people in our age group could do, and especially how you've invited us on as kind of representatives of some of the communities that we are, a part of, whether it be USM clubs or even, like the radio station, different university programming, is it's all about acknowledgement and incentive. We need to, if we are the ones who are socially aware, spread the social awareness of what's going on. Don't let the ignorant stay ignorant, especially if they're doing it willfully. And I believe, like with my club, we have a very inclusive, very diverse group of people. jocks, nerds, whatever you want to call it, those stereotypes from the previous 3 decades, you know. We've got them all. We've got a bunch of different people, different ethnicities, religious backgrounds, you know, Christians, atheists, whatever. No matter who you are or who you identify with, the acknowledgement of what we need to do and of what our part is in our current government definitely needs to be acknowledged by the same people, you know, by the people that you align yourself with, whether it be politically or, you know, through whatever interests or games you like.
Yeah, I mean, acknowledging our existence, right? So we're going to take a break, and we're not going to take a break. Sorry, we just flipped over. So social work.
Yeah.
So this goes directly to this idea, doesn't it? Talk to us
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
Well, I'm very early on in my major, but I can tell that which what she just said is very well said. You know, I think like now for Gen Z, it is our time to step up and, you know, I guess take the torch into our direction. You know, and I think in terms of social work, I think a lot of social work, you have to advocate for a lot of people that cannot advocate for themselves. So, and a lot of these people who are on SNAP benefits are most likely cannot or don't even understand like how government funding affects them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, and I would be curious how many USM students receive food benefits.
I'm
I
not
suspect
sure.
it's a portion.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah. And that's something. So this is why I love having journalists on, and you have social work on, right? So you have the heart and the mind of these issues that affect our society. You need both,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So I love that. Now this goes to a headline in the New York Times. I'm going to throw this at you, so we'll stay on topic for a little bit. And this is from the editorial board. I rarely bring up headlines from editorials. So the way the news works is, right, you have some outlets like the New York Times, Washington Post, some of the more bigger legacy outlets, have a whole section of opinion. And as you're reading this stuff, you have to know this is opinion, this other stuff is news, and they don't mix. But they had a particularly strong editorial this morning where and here's the headline, "Are we losing our democracy?"
That's a headline.
That is a headline. And at the end of 10,000 words, the conclusion was, anybody want to guess?
Yes.
Yes. We are in the process of losing our democracy. I don't agree. What do you think I would say?
What you would say?
Yeah, what I would say. We're not. So the headline is we are losing our democracy.
Could I
Yeah, I
interject?
don't-
and
I
Yeah,
say-
interject, because
know if I
I'll
Could I
tell
say,
you.
do
I'll tell
you
you what
believe
I.
that the checks and balances will stay in place?
No,
That's not what you would say at all. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I can answer.
we're
for
not
you on
losing
that
it.
one.
We've lost it.
Oh,
We've already lost.
Can I throw up
we've
my
already
hands?
lost it. We already.
Goodness.
No, and this is so. This that's just my take.
Yeah.
But I really want to hear what you guys think. That headline, are we losing our democracy? Imagine this in the United States. This is not 1933 Germany, which a very similar package, by the way, ran in the Munich Times about Adolf Hitler in 1933. Nobody paid attention. We're going to pick up with that enlightening and happy topic after the break.
Sponsorship comes from Furniture Direct, with locations in Hattiesburg, Laurel, and Columbia. Are you looking for a deal? Lots of styles on a good value? You can find them on Facebook at Furniture Direct Hattiesburg for the latest specials and promotions. Or you can shop anytime at FurnitureDirectNow.com. You can see why Furniture Direct is your furniture destination.
In Southeast Mississippi, we stand united for the most vulnerable in our community. Become a game changer and volunteer by calling United Way of Southeast Mississippi at 601-545-7141. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
And we are back. Wow, what an uplifting topic, Dr. Hale. But I tell you again, this is the idea of confronting what's coming at us, right? Not turning away, not putting our heads in the sand, but as citizens, what can we do and how should we think about this? So my argument was that we're not in the process of losing our democracy. We have lost it, and that the process is not stopping the slide, but in regaining. That would be my argument. So what do our young people think? What do our students think about this headline? New York Times, not known for its progressive policies, asking the question, are we losing our democracy? What do we think?
I would say yes, we are. I think, was it 2010 Citizens United versus United States allowing corporations to become a person to donate unlimited amount of money that moves us towards an oligarchy. So,
Yep.
and whoever has the most money has the most say in politics. So, I would say yes, we are currently losing it, but I wouldn't say we have completely lost it. But also, it's like Pandora's box. It's like once it's already open, it's open.
Okay.
I probably also agree. Once again, I'm really battling my journalism brain right now because that is a very charged statement to have headlined,
Yep.
as an editorial. So I'm like, oh. I really believe that. I probably also agree that we are losing a lot of our democracy, especially through civil strife and the idea that we are, as citizens, local citizens, many of us, most of us even, are not aligned with the policies of our federal government, no matter the partisanship, once again. I think that the editorial itself promotes a level of, like, failure and nihilism that I myself don't agree with. So while I do agree that while our democratic system is in the process of failing, much like you said, I think that also the editorial headline promotes a sense of loss that we can't make up, and that's what I'm not for personally.
Oh, interesting.
So
You're just not there. You're not there.
I
It's just too far.
don't even know if I would call it too far, but just the idea that we've lost all hope is what destroys us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah. Why don't you figure that out instead of giving us the doom and gloom? I've always been more optimistic than you have been across
Correct.
many weeks of having this conversation. I don't think that it's a place to say we've lost it at all. However, I think the actual marker that I'm looking for is when we get to midterms next year to see what happens. Because I think we're still in a place where democracy is still functioning, albeit very fractured. I think when we get there, that's when we're going to really see. Because I will say, yeah, I know, you're giving me a face. I will say that, and again, taking the devil's advocate position that I often do,
indeed.
that things that have been happening were things people wanted. They voted for it. They said that is democracy. Has it gone far, and so far that it's now left that realm, and it's now, let's actually break down the fundamentals of the democratic process. And okay, yeah, that's clearly a problem. That's why it's fractured, but I'm not ready to say that it's gone. Next year is when we're going to find out.
Well, okay, I'm sighing again. I sigh a lot. Both of our listeners have heard me sigh before. Now, your point, I think, is super well taken. This idea that all hope is not lost. I haven't given up hope. I'm here. I'm sort of talking, sort of. I haven't given up hope. I do think we've lost it. I think it's possible to get it back. I think the first step in that to see is midterms. But so far, we have seen Congress do nothing.
Yes.
And so far, we've seen the Supreme Court be the handmaiden of authoritarianism.
That is genuinely very concerning, as I mentioned last week, too. Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah. So, and this is where the citizen, now here's the hope. This is my argument. The citizens can fix it. Will they?
I believe so.
Ooh, wow. I love that. See, this is why you talk to USM students, right? Gives you hope.
It's definitely a matter of, I don't see a lot of the representation of who I identify as, the different people around me identify as. I don't see that in positions of power currently through a lot of our current systems of governance. And I think that's going to be an issue that we'll have to take into consideration as part of Gen Z, is who do we want to represent ourselves? And that's going to be a huge player in what determines our democracy.
So I know I can't believe we're already out of time, but I'm going to force us. Can we go on just a little bit? Okay, Liam's giving us the thumbs up because we haven't mentioned some really important topics yet. But one of them, so you mentioned that who's going to be the next leader? Who's going? But are students watching the New York City's mayor's race?
I believe
yes,
so.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
For sure.
Wow, that was an emphatic yes. How are we feeling about Mondami?
I'm excited. I think I am. I think, New York City has always been a political center, And that's what it has to start off with first is small, and then overall big. So the fact that it's gained this much attention, I think, has a lot of hope. And I'm not trying to predict anything, but I believe that he has a really good chance of winning.
Okay.
I have been really interested on the media sphere of things. On TikTok, especially now, you're seeing people who are doing these little compilations of, funny Silwa moments, or watch Cuomo just absolutely go off on the worst tangents available. I have really been enjoying looking at it from a perspective of the outer culture sphere of it, of seeing how we are interacting outside of New York City, but also as, people who are looking for a good joke or looking for a good personality, and watching how we have taken all of their debates and things and kind of pushed it into social media, whereas normally we wouldn't be able to see that, we wouldn't look at it, but because we have such characters right now in the running, that I've really enjoyed seeing both what they represent for New York City, but also how everybody has taken it, like both U.S. citizens, New York citizens, people across the globe, seeing, how funny is Silwa, and the fact that he got shot 3 times in the back of the cab, consistently talking about it. It's always the joke. Let's have him for our little mascot.
I would like to also add, I think the fact that he's young also shakes it up. It's like, it's always been old white guys.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
the fact that it's someone, I don't know how old he is. I'm going to guess he's in his 30s.
He looks late 30s. We can look
I
that
don't
up.
remember.
Yeah, I don't.
But I think that's a huge shift that Gen Z is looking for, is new and young faces.
Yeah. But it's not, and I agree, and we can't take too much more time, but do you think he's a communist? Do you think he's like a true socialist kind of guy?
I would say socialist, but not communist.
And you're okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
You're okay. Are you okay with that?
It's one of those things that, depending on what my points of view is and my beliefs, is even if it doesn't align fully with my own system, that I'm going to have to always go for the people I feel will benefit me best. So, whether or not I believe he's a full socialist or full communist or whatever it is fully indicative on how much I agree with versus how much I don't. So,
There you go.
And he's
again,
been very clear to also say he isn't a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. He is very, 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 very clear about that.
Correct.
So, it's something to keep in mind. But I think the energy that you're seeing there is exactly why I'm saying we have to look to midterms to see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we'll know.
this will be a
then.
big impact if he ends up being elected, that I think could very
Yeah.
well change a lot of the future.
And I tell you, if you want the dream match for me, right now, as the landscape looks, J.D. Vance and Mondami in 2028.
Well, J.D. Vance won't have a choice because Trump will just go again.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. So you're making me crazy on purpose, Dr. Hale. You shouldn't do that because I'll go on a rant. That's that bad. Okay, so one real headline real quick. We're running so late, but we have to talk about Mississippi monkeys. Has that come across your feeds?
Yeah.
How are we feeling about our escaped monkeys?
What a great Halloween horror movie.
Now, I can't decide, are they really diseased or not? Because I've
Well-
seen different stories about that.
Tulane has said very specifically that these monkeys had not been infected with herpes, hepatitis C, and COVID. The sheriff's department, however, has also been saying things that are very much not the same thing that the university has said.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
Ooh.
But there's still, apparently, I looked this morning, I did not see an update. There are apparently 3 monkeys still on the loose in Mississippi, and it's only like 45 minutes away from us.
So it's possible.
Very near my hometown, actually.
Yeah. So we could have marauding monkeys on Halloween. Does it get any better than that?
I feel like some kid right now has a monkey in his backyard. And he's like, guys, come over and look at this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is the story we needed right now.
The same ones in Florida too, though. I believe the rhesus monkeys are also the ones that have taken over Florida. So it's like, are we joining?
I don't know. Okay, so really quick, and Leon, I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm going to issue Dr. Hale a challenge. So about a month ago, Dr. Hale made fun of me for not watching K-pop Demon Hunters. So I said, okay, I eventually did, and it has really changed my life. K-pop. No, I'm just kidding.
It has. No. That's not overselling.
But, okay, it's an amazing, absolute movie that we need right now in the moment. Here's the challenge. I want you, if you haven't already, I don't think you have, watch Taylor Swift's music video
Uh-huh.
on Fate of Ophelia.
The music video.
The music
specifically.
video,
Okay.
Fate of Ophelia.
Okay.
And now, so it's up to 89. Why are you looking at me that way? Don't you love Taylor Swift?
I've listened to the song. It's not me making a
Oh, well,
face.
you're what? You don't like Tay-Tay is not your thing?
You
No
may not
comment.
come back. So.
Oh, you
Oh, see, English major, Fate of Ophelia. It's one of those things.
Oh, I know, right. Oh, so you're saying she butchered the story?
I'm not saying she butchered anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
There-
no.
Oh, there you go. So we got to talk about this.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I want you to watch it. And I want to
Yeah.
talk about it when we get back. So next week we're going to have a guest host next week. Thank you, Dr. Martin. But after that, I want to talk about it. So that's your assignment.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, and then we'll talk about it because I have a theory
Okay.
on it. And if you want to come back and talk about English, we can do that.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so this has been a production of Southern Miss Student Media. What an amazing show. Thank you, guys. It goes so fast. Our producers are Annabelle Laird and Lily Burkhardt. Our special video producer this week is Dr. Wilbur Martin. Thank you, Wilbur. Our engineer is Liam Keenan. And Dr. Martin will be your special guest host next week while Dr. Hale and I are off doing professory type things. But we'll be back after that. And stay tuned.
This has been News You Need with Dr. Ed Simpson. News You Need airs Friday afternoon at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio.
Southern Miss Radio is